second week of Kahal ETL program. And if you have missed my last video, basically I am doing an e-commerce online program with Te Whare Huka Huka, and it has been amazing. We are learning some awesome things about doing business online. Every week we are hearing from a guest speaker. What we're doing in that space is then part of the program is to share you know, the information or the knowledge that we have learnt over the week. So along with e-commerce and business and all of those things, there's also a background of where that passion and desires come from to either be a part of your product or your service. So anyway, we this week got to hear from a beautiful lady, Canadian lady, called Jace Meyer. But she's also got something else very, very unique to her. So although she's fair, she's half, and these were her words, half colonizer and half Indigenous. So those two together, such a powerful thing. So a little bit about her upbringing to this point is that when she was a teenager, the whole time she thought she was, you know, your white American, white Canadian. But on the deathbed of her grandmother, she found out that she was also Indigenous. From there on, it drove her to find out more about her identity, and from then created a passion and fire and a burning desire to push for Indigenous people. The story that she shared was very well, almost like I think possibly I want to hear more about it, but I do believe that maybe they even had a worse time through that time of colonization than we did as Māori and Aotearoa. Very powerful, moving story. So behind all of that, behind her finding out more about her identity and who she is and where she's from, she then creates this new passion and desire to empower Indigenous people. So as you saw, that was her. She's very softly spoken, very gentle, loving, kind, but the heart behind her was very Indigenous. And I say that because she's, you know, she's bold, she's ballsy as, she stands up, she fights, she is goes against the grain, you know, very disruptive are her words, very disruptive. So whatever's going, say like our government is going one way, if she knew there was something wrong with that, she would push the other way, just like some of our Indigenous people that are pushing against the government right now in hope to win back our rights and our freedoms. Right, so a little plug on that. On the 16th of October, the Freedoms, Rights and Rights Coalition are standing on this Saturday at a place near you. You can find out where those places are on the Freedom and Rights Coalition page on Facebook. And you know what, stand up for your rights and your freedoms. You know, things are slowly getting taken away from us. If you don't see it now, I don't know how you don't see it. If you're on Facebook, you'll see it everywhere, what's going on. Everyone, yes, has their different views, political views and all of that, but yeah, if you have an inkling in your heart that you just feel like something is not right here, that our rights are being taken away from us, then hey, go down and check out and stand with the masses this Saturday at a town near you. From here you'll be inspired to hear stories from all walks of life, all different people, not just Christians, not just Māori, not just Indigenous, but everyone are there, and they're all fighting for the same thing, our rights, our freedoms of choice. So yeah, have a look online and check that out. So along with Jace, she done the same thing in her walk and her journey. She's 33 years old. She has been standing and fighting for the Indigenous. You know, she talks about the Indian culture and the colonizing and everything. Yeah, it's not really my platform to speak on that. I do have two Canadian friends, and you know, one is Indian and one is Canadian, and I don't know too much about their upbringing, but after hearing Jace Meyer speak, I just was like, wow, you know, there's so much to their journey as well. So love you both, Sippy and Amanda. Yeah, this lady was amazing to hear from. She creates now a platform for Indigenous to be seen, to be heard, for these stories to be heard, to not be pushed aside and pushed down, to not be suppressed and oppressed, like we know as Māori here in New Zealand, that those stories have been oppressed. I know there's a lot coming out of the government now, and there's funding and all of these things going on, but the truth is that, yeah, there's more out there that's happening. So so she goes on further to share about all of that journey, and she shares about you know, how as Indigenous we used to managing my 3 gems that I'll share with you really quickly. Is that she shares about Indigenous managing poverty. We've always been a race that manages poverty, you know, week to week, paycheck to paycheck. That's pretty much how a lot of us live, and opposed to managing money, you know. And it's time to switch our mindset and, you know, and believe that we are worthy of those things. Don't get comfortable where we are. Keep fighting for better things. She talks about you know, don't get too comfortable. If you're comfortable, nothing's happening there. There's so much to be happening in the uncomfortable zone. And just like this stand, you know, the picnic this Saturday, standing up for your rights and your freedoms here in New Zealand. You could be comfortable sitting on the couch watching the news every day, is it 1 p.m. on a Tuesday, you know, waiting for the news and getting upset about what's coming across, but we're not doing anything about it. Well, there are masses that are going out there and they are standing up for your rights and your freedoms for the generations to come. If we don't stand now, when are we going to stand? You know, our ancestors fought and the wars, and they fought in the rain and the terrain and the mud, you know, and the cold and the winter and the summer, throughout the, you know, all 4 seasons. They were in trenches, there were dead people, you know, there were guns, bullets flying everywhere. We don't have to do that. In this day and age, we can go to a picnic on Saturday with your family, a peaceful picnic, meet beautiful people, hear their stories, and be inspired and motivated to continue to stand up for your rights. Not only is it happening this weekend, but it's also happening in Wellington at the end of the month. Also, if you go and check out the Freedoms and Rights Coalition page, you will find out exactly the dates and the times and the places. So very awesome kōrero from the beautiful Jace Meyer. Find her on Instagram and follow her. She's very political, but also love and family centric, which I loved about her, because that's a bit of us. And if we're not political and we're not into politics, well, politics are definitely into us. And like right now, our rights and our freedoms are getting taken away from us. So if we want to stand up to that, be like Jace and you know, make it down to the masses on Saturday near you. To find out more about that, check out the Freedoms and Rights Coalition page on Facebook. Awesome. So that's my little plug there for the weekend. And lastly, I want to add, she shares about the power of, because she can come from where she is as a colonizer and then Indigenous as well, she shares how beautiful it is that Indigenous support Indigenous people. If you notice that, I notice that in our communities and in our towns, and they're always out to help, and she shares about that. This fair Canadian shares about Indigenous, help out Indigenous, they support each other. So we don't want to back down, we are standing, and come here my darling, and we are standing for our rights and our freedoms. All right, that's a bit from me. Bless yous. That is Kahal Module 2.